Welcome to the podcast that passes poor performance on pop culture. I'm one of your hosts, Darren Duncan, alongside with my best friend, Audie Marsh. We're just a couple of cool cats casually causing some chaos with conversation. We're here to entertain you, not hurt your feelings, so don't blame us. What it is, homeboy?
What's up, man?
What's going on, man?
Hey, it feels different not being at your house doing this.
Yeah, I know, right? We did how many episodes here? 3?
Yeah, 2 or 3. Yeah, I don't know, 2 or 3. I can't remember.
That was awesome. This is episode 14, right?
I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah.
You asked me all these questions until I go back and I'm like, shit.
Right.
It was 12.
Well, every time before we go live, I usually hop on our Spotify and just count all the fucking episodes. But eventually, we're gonna be like in the hundreds, so it's like fuck that.
Yeah.
We just gotta start taking notes, dude.
It's gonna get so big we can't even remember. I don't remember.
Yeah, right. We got a really badass guest for our 14th episode. I think it's the 14th episode. Zack Edwards, man. This guy is in my opinion, he's the definition of the American dream, dude. A kid from fucking Indiana moving out to California to fucking pursue his dreams, and it's like next thing you know, he's fucking on set, fucking mixing the blood and shit. It's great. It's such a fucking awesome story. I can't wait to talk to him about it and see how he fell into this career, man. It's awesome. I'm very proud of him and stoked to have him on.
So you want to bring him on?
Yeah, let's bring this motherfucker on.
Is that what you're saying?
Basically, yeah. What's up, dude?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good. How are you, man?
Oh, not too bad. Just enjoying the California sun.
Yeah, rub it in, Dick. But you're from the Midwest originally, right? Fort Wayne?
Yeah, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
That's awesome. When did you move out to California, and what was the initial reason why you first moved out there?
Actually, it's kind of funny you asked that today. I just got a notification from this being in the week that I originally moved here 7 years ago. I was on tour with my band at the time called the B-Movie Monsters, and we played the Whiskey A Go-Go, and that night I knew California was home. And finished out the tour, got back to Indiana, and 2 days later I packed a bag and just left with $75 in my pocket.
No shit.
Oh wow.
So what were you doing? Just like, were you homeless for a little bit, or how'd you fucking live?
No. So coincidentally, Bill Manspeaker of Green Jello wanted someone to move in with him to help him with just household duties and, raising chaos and stuff like that. So it just timed out perfectly that I lived in his toy loft in a tent.
Yeah, I remember before we met face to face, I remember seeing Bill Manspeaker live on Facebook and stuff, just being crazy in his house. And when you were on tour with this other band, you stayed at my house and you were like, "You ever watch Bill Manspeaker's videos?" I'm like, "Yeah." You're like, "I'm the dude in the tent." I'm like, "Oh shit." That's fucking awesome. And for those that don't know, when he said Raising Chaos, that's the name of Bill's son. So he wasn't like trying to be funny. Like he was legit raising a human being by the name of Chaos. It's hysterical.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. I was like, oh, okay, Chaos. That's cool.
No, that's the dude's son. That's
his full name is Chaos Diablo Manspeaker.
Yeah. And then his other son's name is like Damien Hellion, right?
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. So what was the B-Movie Monsters, your band like? Was it like punk rock and like horror movie?
Yeah, I mean it was anything. It was labeled as like horror rock or horror punk. But we did everything from surf music to straight punk music and everything in between.
That's awesome.
But now the cool thing about that band was every single song was themed off of a specific horror movie.
Okay, cool. So like the lyrics would be about the movie and everything then?
Yeah. So for instance, our song Dinner Party was about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, that's awesome. That's Audie's favorite horror movie, by the way. So that's cool
absolutely.
You mentioned that.
Oh yeah, same here. I love me some Texas Chainsaw.
Oh yeah.
What'd you think of the new one? The new one on Netflix?
I've purposely kind of put off watching it because I've heard such bad things, and it's such like a grail movie to me that I don't want it to be ruined with a flop in the franchise.
Look, the next generation, it won't be nowhere near as worse as the next generation. So you should be fine.
Yeah, Audie loves it, and he's a big fan like you of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So you might dig it. I loved it. I thought it was fucking
It, it
awesome, dude.
yeah, it was definitely different. It had its own little vibe to it. Just gotta watch it go in, and I mean, you're a special effects artist, so I'm pretty sure you're more keen into things where Darren and I watch it, we're like, oh, that's cool, but you could probably look at it and be like, wrong, wrong, stupid,
Oh
I,
yeah.
so it's probably a
I
little
was
different in your
actually
eyes.
I was actually gonna say, being a special effects artist, you might really enjoy the kills because they're pretty fucking brutal.
Oh yeah,
See,
absolutely.
it's like a catch 22. Like it's super cool because you cheer on your your fellow effects people, but at the same time, you're like, oh, I just saw where the bloodline was rigged.
Oh yeah, okay. So it ruins it for you a
A
little
little
bit
bit.
sometimes. Damn, I never even thought about it like that. That's kind of cool, but kind of shitty at the same time. Yeah. So
But
how'd you? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but at the same time, you're like, ooh, that's how we did that blood. I'm gonna use that in my next movie.
Yeah, I was gonna ask too if there's like, do you get any inspiration from seeing shit like that and the way that it's done?
Oh, definitely. I mean, for what I do, every effects person has their own way to do it. Um, and if I haven't worked with someone that does it a certain way, I may have never been exposed to that, but I find that their way works better than what I have been using. So you're constantly just bouncing back and forth between what works best, what can be hidden, what gives the best results.
How'd you fall into this, man? Because I feel like when we first met, it was like you talked about haunted houses and how you would do those and stuff, and but I don't know if we ever talked about you like, yeah, someday I'm gonna fucking be a special effects artist or anything. And it was just like, next thing I know, you're fucking on American Horror Story sets and shit. It's just crazy. How'd you fall into it and like become so successful so fast?
So having a love for horror movies and haunted houses and all that, mixed with the fact that I was that kid that always took my parents' lawnmowers apart, but never could figure out how to put them back together.
Okay.
I mean, I was the mechanic of my own Power Wheels Jeep when I cut the battery cables and couldn't, mend them back together. I was heartbroken. But, when I moved out here, I didn't know anyone in film. I didn't move out here with the intention to be in film. I moved out with the intention of music. And just the right situation arose. And my girlfriend at the time was already in the industry. And she says, you like building things and figuring out how things work. Why don't you try that in front of a camera and get paid to do it? And I about called bullshit and said, there's no way that I can get paid to, essentially be a hillbilly.
Right.
And she was like, yeah, I mean, you absolutely can, but you're going to have to start at the bottom of the food chain and essentially be a coffee runner. Like you go up to the directors and you say, what can I get you to drink? Whatever it is. And so she got me my first job on a Dell Computers commercial and basically said, this is the only one I'm getting you. From here, you're on your own. And when I got the production assistant job on Westworld for the first time, I found the effects guys there and just annoyed the living hell out of them. And I was like, what's this do? How does that work? How do we make this happen? To the point the guy said, look, if you leave me alone, I'm going to give you my phone number. And when you can find a way to weasel yourself into the union, call me and I'll hire you. So I did. That's where a lot of those Huluween and all that kind of stuff, the Into the Dark series came from, is that was me getting my days to get into the union to work on bigger projects.
Man, that's so cool, dude. That's a really great story. Speaking of the Halloween movies, there's some really gnarly ones in there, man. Like School Spirit, you designed the killer's mask and everything for that, right?
Yeah, I did. Actually, let me see if I can pull some photos up that the world has never seen.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but there was School Spirit, which I designed the killer. I designed any kind of body part that was there. My entire garage was full of severed heads and torsos and all sorts of weird stuff. So I don't know how well this will show on the camera, but do you remember the scene with one of the kids being decapitated with the paper cutter?
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. Damn, that's cool, man.
There's
That's really
that
cool.
one. And then here's me standing with the villain I created for that movie.
That's fucking cool. How does that feel, man, to like be the designer of the actual slasher? Like that's got to be pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I had reached the pinnacle of my career right there, having such a love for horror. And then Blumhouse, which has come out with so many cool horror films, to approach me and say, hey, we want you to design our killer. I about passed out. I mean,
Right.
I told my fiance that I think I pissed myself a little bit when that call came through.
What did you have any inspirations for that killer for School Spirit, or was this some just your own brain baby, or what?
So, believe it or not, I at the time was working on my sculpting skills, just making different generic monsters and things like that. And I had already made that mask, and it was supposed to be kind of like a Texas Chainsaw-esque, like skinned face that someone would wear. So the original version was bloody and torn up and things. And they had asked me to sculpt a mask for that movie, and I came up with 4 versions, and they didn't like any of them. Not a single one, but they saw that in the background, I had the original version of that mask on a stand. And they go, well, the ones that are in clay, we don't like, but what's that? And I told them, and they go, all right, bring it in tomorrow and we'll talk about it. So I brought it in, and they go, all right, well, we're going to throw some dirt on it, and I want you to repaint the cracks black instead of with blood and stuff like that. And that's basically how the Admiral was born.
That's fucking sweet.
Cool. So what is it? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, man. Ask them.
So how does it work? You pay out of your own pocket to make all these things, and then you just present it, or do they give you like a budget?
It depends. Like, so for that one, normally you would get what's referred to as a day rate for your sculpting time, another day or so for molding, and then production, painting, all of that. But with that one, because it was already pre-made and pre-molded, we just came up with a flat number for basically them to purchase the mold and mask.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering because you sit at home and you come up with all these ideas like 3D printing. I sit here with all this stuff, but I'm just like, I need to get paid.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked you. It's like you could come up with all this stuff all day long, but it's like you better be making some money off of it. You know what I mean? Because it's one of those things where
in Hollywood, it's truly like feast or famine. You might work nonstop for 6 months, and then everything dries up, and you better hope you've saved, because for the next 8 months, there's not a single day of work.
Okay, gotcha. So you're like a work, off on call.
Yeah.
Until something hits. Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's got to be frustrating, and probably that'd make me nervous.
Luckily, in special effects, because there's so few of us in Hollywood, we tend to work throughout the year, but a lot of other departments, they're flooded with people. So when productions kind of start to slow down, people are put to the side benches, unfortunately. And yeah, I mean, I've known people that have been on year-long hiatuses.
Wow.
Do you got to pay union dues that whole time? Is that what your union's like? You got to pay?
Oh yeah, they always want their cut.
Damn. How well protected do you think you are in that union? Is it a pretty safe union?
It really depends. Without talking too badly,
right?
It's a very good union, but it's run more, in my opinion, like a club rather than a union.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when I lived in Indiana, I worked in a steel mill and was part of the steelworkers union. And the example I like to give is that when I was doing that, if you were my boss and treated me badly, I can tell you to F off, call them, and they're like, all right, well, your next job's over here tomorrow. Whereas if you do that here, the union's just gonna kind of laugh and say, well, that sucks. Start making calls and get yourself some new work.
Damn. That sucks. Yeah, I've been in a couple unions that you're a fucking joke. They don't protect you. They don't do shit, and it's like, what am I even paying this shit for? So
yeah,
it's crazy. On Uncanny Annie, man. Let's talk about that movie.
Let's do it.
I fucking love this movie. It's like a horror version of Jumanji, right? That's what I've always thought. That's the way I explain it to people. I'm like, it's kind of like, what if Jumanji was a horror movie? Go ahead, talk about it.
One of the pitches that the director Paul presented when we were doing the scouting originally for that movie was, and I hadn't read the script. We're just walking into these locations. I'm seeing the house it all takes place into. And I asked him, I go, what's this movie about? And he said that. He goes, think Jumanji meets 13 Ghosts.
Oh, shit. That's cool. So how involved were you into that special effects then? Like, didn't you build props and shit for that movie too?
Yeah, I mean, I did everything on that movie. That was a nightmare of a movie to finish, simply because there was just so much to do in such a short time. Because those movies, standard features shot over 2 to 3 months. That movie was shot in 14 days.
Holy shit. Well, it was all kind of in one location, right? So I guess that kind of makes sense a little for it being all, because the whole movie takes place in one house, right? Besides, there's like a couple scenes on the road and shit like that.
Yeah, but in doing that, and a lot of people who haven't been on a movie set get a misconception that everything is built on a big soundstage. With Uncanny Annie, that was truly an old abandoned house on a mining field. And the hallways were about 3 feet wide. So imagine getting 3 cameras, sound, lighting, a bunch of equipment up there, plus 10 or so extra bodies just trying to navigate through these hallways to work for the next scene.
That sounds like a nightmare, dude.
Yeah.
So who did all when they try to leave the house and everything is black? That's all just like computer imagery, right?
No, that was all done practically. That was one day that we went to a soundstage out in, I want to say it was Santa Clarita, California, and we just painted the entire thing black and hung a bunch of black curtains around them.
Oh shit. That's crazy because it looks fucking huge, like it's its own universe, like its own dimension. It's fucking wild. I can't believe that was practical. That's some crazy shit. Yeah,
we've got this cool stuff that the grip department uses called Duvetine, and it's like the darkest version of black you could imagine, but it feels kind of like velvet or felt. And because of that, you can drape it right behind someone, and it gives huge amounts of depth behind them.
Oh, wow. That's cool, man. Some movie magic.
Yeah.
That's cool. What's like your favorite thing to do? Like, speaking of movie magic, like, is it the blood? Is it the severed arms?
For me, it's definitely blood work.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to do a lot of it recently. Well, I take that back. I have, but I just can't tell you what on yet.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Yeah. No, that's really cool, man. Yeah. So with the with the blood and everything for Uncanny Annie, I believe that there was times where the board game and some cards and shit like that got blood on them. So what do you do? Are you dumping it out, or are you blowing it out of a straw? What'd you do on that specific movie for that? So a lot of that, for example, there's a scene where one girl opens up the box on top of the board, and I believe she takes a drill and drills through it, and it just starts spewing everywhere. All we did was we put her inside of one of those like Walmart kiddie pools, and between takes we would just squeegee off the board and let it go down into this kiddie pool. Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah, because you can't really fuck up the house either, right? Or, I mean, did that house belong to somebody? Were you renting it or what? No, so the house belonged to the state of California. And yeah, the house was extremely strict about what we could and couldn't do there. So I ended up there was a scene where they wanted one of the characters to be invisible but have footprints appear. And they wanted them to be muddy footprints. But the location said, absolutely not. You can't do that. So I ended up I molded my own boot and made silicone pieces of mud that would go through it and had footprints in them. That's genius. That's really cool. You did go ahead, Audie.
if you sit back and think about it, that's pretty petty that you would have to make something that tedious to a special effect.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, it's like, you can't do this, so you gotta, like, improvise. That's genius. I would have never thought to do that, and I would probably still just be pissed to the simple fact that I couldn't put my own muddy footprint on something.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
I mean, one of the big ones that you guys will probably just laugh at. Have you ever seen movies when they're in the shower and the mirror steams up?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, that's not steam. That's spray on deodorant.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Is it because they can't have like moisture in the room with the cameras and shit, or?
It's partially that, but with water, it acts however it wants to. You can't just control it for the most part. So with the arid extra dry like spray deodorant, we can put it on there light, put it on there heavy, and it can last long enough that someone can write their name in the mirror.
That makes a lot of sense,
Oh.
man. So you guys are responsible for everything. If it's raining, that's you don't film in the rain. That's you guys. If it's windy, that's you guys, right?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, a lot of what we do is things that people take for granted. As dumb as it sounds, if you see a toilet flush on a set in a movie, that's us. If you see a sink turn on, that's us. If an actor lights a cigarette, one of us has to be about 3 feet away from him, making sure he doesn't light themselves on fire.
That's crazy. That's so silly, but I get it. Because safety is most important, right?
Yeah,
Right. Just like with any other job, it's like you want to go home the same way you walked on set that day. So I totally get it. And if you're hurt, you can't work. So
exactly.
if you're getting hurt too. But I never thought about the cigarette thing or even the water thing. Like, yeah, because I would assume you guys don't have like running fucking water or like toilets. I mean, probably in the bathroom, but not on a fucking sound stage. You
No.
know?
Yeah.
I never thought of that.
Yeah,
That's some crazy shit.
that is very crazy. Makes
Have
me
you ever-
second guess maybe even trying to do a movie, and I ain't want to do a movie now.
What kind of problems do you run into when you're like creating like rain and thunder and wind and shit like that?
One of the biggest ones, especially with rain, is location. If you're in kind of a remote area, let's say out in the desert, there's no house to hook up a water line to, and there's no fire hydrant to tap into. So we actually have to bring out these gigantic water trucks that hold like 2,500 gallons of water and have water cannons on them. And then we hook those up to these big truss systems and, the spray heads. But it's a lot of, if you're somewhere that you can't have the regular amenities, it's our job to figure out how it's going to work. And a lot of the times producers don't understand that, you can't make it rain in the desert at the snap of a finger. It takes planning, it takes time, and you're limited because if you're 50 miles out from the closest water source, once those trucks run out of water, you can't do another take until they go back into town, fill back up, and come back out.
Right. How do you? What about wind? Do you guys have any? Is there a pain in the ass to control wind, or is that just a big ass fan?
It's a little bit of both. When it comes to stopping wind, we don't really do a whole lot of that. That's more of it'd probably be the grip department putting up what are referred to as like a fly swatter to kind of block it a little bit off of the actors. Whereas we're the opposite. We have everything from, desktop size fans to fans the size of an airplane, turbine.
Okay. And just a few seconds ago, we talked about like making it rain and shit. There's a fucking brutal band called Carnifex? Didn't you work on that music video, right? Doesn't it rain blood in that video?
No. So in the video I did, we cut off a girl's tongue. There's all sorts of stuff I had made in the background. It's a more psychological type video for that one.
Okay. What's that song called again?
Visions of the End.
Yeah, everyone needs to go check that out. Not only are they a kick-ass band, but it's just cool that you worked on that music video.
Yeah.
How'd you get that gig?
So I had done a kind of low-budget horror film prior to that, and there was a lot of bad experiences there for other crew members, and I always stuck up for them and was kind of the one who just didn't care enough about the movie to let the producers treat the female crew members a certain way. So at that wrap, we exchanged phone numbers and said, keep in contact, all of that. And about 4 or 5 months later, I get a phone call from the makeup artist on that movie. And she goes, hey, my boyfriend's band is shooting a music video. I go, okay, that's great. And she goes, do you mind if they call you? And I was like, yeah, whatever. Expecting it to be, just another hopeful band going to be the next thing. So the next day, I get a phone call. And they go, is this Zack Edwards? And I go, yeah. They go, okay, well, this is a representative for Carnifex. And I go,
oh, shit.
And I was like, what? How did you get my number? And they said, well, such and such gave us your name and highly recommended you. And we want an effects artist, and you're the only one we're willing to work with at this point.
That's
And
fucking awesome.
So I, happily agreed to it. And, I was like, what do you need? What can we do? And at the time they were on a very tight budget. They had just gotten off of a tour, just finished recording that album and everything. So they said, we want the best thing, but we have to work within certain monetary parameters. And I go, you know what? I love the music. I don't care. I'm going to show up with an entire kit full of stuff, and we're just going to make whatever you want happen. And the night before, they called and they said, well, the one thing that we want done is we want in real time to cut someone's tongue off. So I'm scrambling around trying to figure out how to do it. And it ended up the most ghetto thing I've ever done in my life. I ordered fake tongues on Amazon, had them shipped to my house the next day. And now I ran into the problem with, how are we going to cut it off? And I just remember them saying they wanted it to be done in the most brutal way possible. So I ran out to the garden, grabbed my fiance's garden shears, and we used those to cut off a girl's tongue.
That's fucking awesome. So what'd you do for the blood? Did she have blood in her mouth, or how'd that work out?
Yeah, so basically I hollowed out the fake tongue and we slipped it over her real tongue. And she just pulled it out about, 1.5 inches, only exposing the fake, and snipped through that. And I had a little blood packet on top of her real tongue that she would bite down into. And at the right time, it just spewed out.
That would be terrifying as an actress. Like, you better not cut off my tongue, fucker.
Well, that's why I told her, I was like, you're the one doing this. I'm not going to reach into your mouth and feel your tongue for you.
Right. Yeah, that would be. Whew.
So what did she have to do? Bite the back of it?
Yeah, I mean, it covered probably 3/4 of her real tongue, and it made her look like Gene Simmons when the full thing was in. So what we did is, I coached her. I said, find the tip of your real tongue and keep it behind your teeth and push everything else forward. And when we're going to do it, I said, bite down on the fake tongue and just pull forward and clip from that point.
I'm going to go tonight and order one of those fake tongues on Amazon.
I still have about 75 of them in my garage.
Holy shit. You're just waiting for
He's like, yeah, in case I mess up, I have 75 of them left.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you got to do, I guess, being the effects artist. You got to always buy in bulk.
Yeah, I mean, because you never know.
Yeah.
I as the person doing the effect might say, that didn't look right. Let's do it again. Mm-hmm. Camera might say, the SIM card got corrupted. We don't have that take anymore. We have to do it again. So you always want to buy and manufacture more than what you're actually going to use.
Yeah. So speaking of takes, have you ever had like a Stanley Kubrick moment where like you had to like just at take after take after take to the point where you're just ready to just throw it all up and quit? Have you ever been dealt with that in your career?
Luckily I haven't really. There's been some that have been really close. And actually it was in, what was that? It might have been School Spirit. It was the finale, which I won't give away, so everyone has to go watch it. But let's just say the mascot. You'll watch it anyways.
Mascot watch the fucking movie, everybody.
Yeah.
Really
mascot gets shish kebabbed with his own sword.
Okay.
And the planning for that to happen and the way that it had to happen and everything, they wanted it from every single angle possible. And in film, you generally do what are referred to as a wide shot, a medium shot, and a tight shot. And then you reverse it. So, but this scene, I kid you not, it was like wide, medium, tight. Okay, we're going to slide to the left, and we're only going to focus on this freckle right here. And then we're going to do the same thing. Okay, now we're going to do it from the other side and just focus on this eyelash. And everyone on set was like, are you serious? Like, we've seen this guy die probably 100 times at this point.
Yeah, I'd imagine that would, to me, that would just be so tedious, shot after shot. Like when you think, man, this was a good shot, it was so great, the effects went on, and then it's like, nope, redo it. That would definitely piss me off. I get you got to have some patience being in the line of work that you are, and
and a lot of things that what we refer to as the upper line, so the director, producers, and all that don't understand is that they have this misconception that we are magicians. Again, on School Spirit, there's a scene where the kids are in a classroom and they pan forward and they see what was the mother skeleton now sitting at the desk in this basement. Well, I had built and made this skeleton, and the script called for an actual exposed skeleton. Well, 5 minutes before we shot it, they decided that they wanted decaying flesh and it to look more like it was, still rotting. So if you watch the movie, you'll see that, we achieved it, and I had 5 minutes to do it, and it was done with what was it? One of the makeup girls handed me a blush palette, I guess, and paper towels and a spray bottle.
Wow. Make it happen, huh?
Yeah. I mean, whatever you got to do to make it work.
It's got to be nerve wracking.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
So go ahead, Naughty.
I was real quick. I was looking on the IDMB, and I see that it's got you listed, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, as an actor on Ass Clowns Constipated.
That was going to be my next question. That's fucking awesome.
I want to dig deep into that because this looks very intriguing, and this is something right up my alley. I'd probably laugh at. So tell us, sell it to me. I want to know what this is about.
So I have to give you kind of the backstory of how we got there.
Yeah, absolutely. You tell it.
So I did a horror film that was called, oh man, what was that? The Ascent. And on that movie, I was the special effects makeup supervisor. And the producer there, his name was Charles. And the first day he comes up to me and he goes, hey, this is going to be kind of a challenging movie. The creature that you're going to be dealing with on a daily basis is head to toe covered in, she has to look bloated. She has to be veiny. She has to be bruised. And she has to just look horrifying. So we did a makeup test, and this poor woman sat for probably 6 hours getting just makeup from head to toe. And on top of that, the director of that movie and this actress just weren't really getting along. So you could tell that he was doing things to go out of his way to kind of be mean to this actress. And so I did everything I could to make her as comfortable as possible, because when we were doing the makeup, she had to be in essentially a little bit less than a bikini. So I would always make sure that there was a female present while I was doing the makeup. And I would always ask her, hey, are you okay doing this today? Can I get you anything before we start? And her and I built a really good rapport because I always made her feel comfortable. I never did anything to, give her any inclination of, anything. I kept everything very professional. Well, later come to find out, the producer of that movie is her husband now. And she had relayed to him, hey, Zach was, the only makeup artist as a male that I felt comfortable being alone in a room with, essentially being pretty close to nude. And, it wasn't weird at all. It was very professional. We got the job done. And the producer came up to me one day and said, you're doing a great job, but she is having trouble sitting for 6 hours every day to do makeup. And so I came up with a solution that we used a unitard, like a ballet unitard. And I painted that. I pre-padded that. I did everything to that. So from that point on, we only had to do neck up in makeup every day. And actually, I might have a photo of that.
Again, that's genius. That's fucking... That's awesome of you.
This poor lady's, sitting there for just hours on end to look like, let's see if I can get this.
I can kind of see it. It's not doing it much justice, though.
Yeah.
You have to send that to me, and we'll put it up on the Patreon page.
Yeah. So anyways, that movie ended, and I kept a good relationship with them. And from time to time, they would call me and say, hey, you're basically our makeup guy. We want to work with you exclusively. And so we did a few other little shorts, and I actually also did some of the effects on Ass Clowns. And so basically I started doing, a black eye here and there on Ass Clowns, and Charles, the producer, had also written the movie. And he goes, hey, how would you feel about showing up to set today? And I asked, hey, yeah, not a problem. What do you need done? Is someone bleeding? What's up? He goes, no, but make sure when you come, you're dressed in a flannel and you're going to put on kind of a weird voice.
I thought this was a cartoon. This is a live action movie.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I show up, and he's basically just like, look, you've got one line in this movie. And I'm like, all right, great. I had no idea what it was about. And turns out my line was, he gave him more than just the tip.
That's epic.
Perfect.
That's fucking hilarious. Where can this movie be seen at, that you know of?
I believe it's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch it just by looking at the cover. I'm like, that looks fucking funny.
Oh, yeah, it's like essentially think of Saturday Night Live meets South Park.
Oh, right up my alley.
So was awesome. your character's name was William the Constipated or something like that?
Yep.
That's fucking nuts. That's hilarious. I have to see this fucking movie, man. Yeah, from going off the cover, I thought it was like a cartoon or something. So
yeah,
I'm seeing a few other movies on your IMDb I wasn't aware of, man. Like Night Teeth and The Prom.
Mm-hmm.
Were those both horror movies, I'm guessing, or?
The Prom was actually a musical. It was a Ryan Murphy movie, so the same guy that did American Horror Story and all of those. But he decided once he got signed with Netflix that he was going to just do whatever he wanted and do a musical. Well, in doing that, he also assembled an all-star cast. So we had Meryl Streep, Nicole Kidman, who else? James Corden. I mean, just the list goes on. And it did really well. And then what was the other one? Night Teeth. That one is a horror, and it's probably one of my most embarrassing moments on set because I'm sitting there, and half that movie was filmed in Canada. And then when they came to LA to finish the movie, I was kind of called last minute, and they said, hey, we need another effects guy here tonight. So I agreed and showed up. And hadn't read the script. I just knew that we were doing some atmosphere and lighting a fire that night. And I see all the actors walk by, and I'm like, all right, cool. And this girl walks by, and she kind of smiles at me. And I looked at the other effects guy that was there. And I was like, that's weird. Who's that? And he goes, you don't know? And I go, no. Who is it? And he goes, dude, she's so pretty. How do you not know who she is? And I was like, she's okay. Nothing special. Who is it? He goes, dude, that's Megan Fox.
No shit.
Yep.
That's fucking hilarious. You had no idea it was her, huh?
Nope.
That's funny. How long ago was this movie? I'm gonna have to check this one out too. Is it like a vampire movie or?
Yeah, it's so that was actually the very first project I did coming back out of lockdown.
Okay.
So that was 2020.
Wow. So I'm pretty sure you get this a lot and asked a lot, but I'm gonna ask it. Out of all your work, what is the most, not the most tedious one? Because I feel like what School Spirit sounds like the most tedious one, but what was one of your favorites to do work on? Was it like American Horror Story or?
I'm gonna have to say a certain one just for a few different reasons. I did a show about a year and a half ago called Kidding with Jim Carrey.
Okay.
First of all, I got to work with Jim Carrey, which
that's awesome.
I grew up watching him.
Yeah, I think we all have.
So, getting to do that was cool enough, but that was a huge turning point in my career because up until that point, I had been under the assumption that, every movie we're going to have time to prep in a shop and we're going to have weeks in advance and this and that. But on that show, we were on the studio lot, had nothing more than what was in our trailer, and every day the schedule would change. So, let's say we were supposed to be shooting the giant Bigfoot that walks across the set. Well, we're not doing that anymore. Now Jim Carrey wants to drive through the set in a car that's made out of a wine barrel, and you've got 20 minutes to make it. So we would scramble to the trailer and just pull out any materials that we could just to make it happen. So it ended up, for that example, his car was made out of one of those little scooters when you break a leg and you put your knee on it and kind of scoot down. That was his car.
So the show's called Kidding?
Yeah.
I gotta look into that, man. I haven't heard of it. Was it just like, why did it fly under the radar, or do I just live under a rock?
I've personally never watched the show. I know a lot of people that did. Essentially, what I've been told is it's Mr. Rogers on LSD.
Okay. I thought Mr. Rogers was on LSD.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's fucking great. How involved were you with American Horror Story? You were on the season Apocalypse?
Yeah.
Was there any other seasons or just that one?
For that one, I was off and on throughout that season. I didn't have a whole lot of involvement past doing like some smoke and stuff like that. There was just so much going on. And when I joined that crew, I found out that on the first day of shooting, within the first 2 hours of their day, they were a week behind schedule.
Oh, shit.
So they were slamming, trying to just do everything they could, filming multiple scenes at once, filming with multiple shooting companies at once just to try to finish it. Because, Ryan Murphy's a very busy guy. He never just has one thing going on. So while he was doing Horror Story, he had American Crime Story in prep. He was prepping The Prom at the time. So
doesn't he like do Glee and fucking Scream Queens? And I mean, he's a real fucking busy dude.
Yeah.
We got about 15 minutes left here. Let's talk about your most recent project that I'm aware of anyway, Pam and Tommy.
Yes.
Dude, it was amazing. Like, I love that show. As soon as it was done, I was like, I want to watch it again. I almost fucking restarted the whole thing and watched it again. It was so fucking, and there's like some kick-ass people in that show.
Oh yeah.
So it was like, just what was your average day like working on that show and getting to sex? I'm sure you met them all, Sebastian and
Oh yeah.
Seth Rogen. And so, what was that like working on that show?
First of all, Seth Rogen is one of the nicest people you could imagine meeting. And Sebastian, who played Tommy, was awesome. I mean, he was super cool. Every morning he'd come up and say good morning, and he'd ask you how you are and all this and that. And it ended up because I was the only member of the crew that had tattoos. When they would put Sebastian's fake tattoos on, the makeup department would come over and ask me to stand next to him every morning so they could compare what real ones versus his faked ones looked like.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask anyway because the audience doesn't. So did you create Tommy Lee's fake dick and his talking dick? Because that was a prosthetic dick, right?
It was. Unfortunately, I did not make that. That was done by a guy named Jason at Autonomous Effects, which those guys are miracle workers. But all day long, no one can keep a straight face.
I bet.
Well, first of all, the puppeteer walks in, and you think he'd have, maybe a little briefcase or something like that. This guy comes in with like 4 or 5 road cases.
Damn.
To control what was referred to on our walkies as, "Hey, Richard's on set."
Yeah, he's having a full-blown conversation with his dick in the bathroom, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that shit was nuts. So that was all remote control then?
So it was a little bit of remote control, and what made it even funnier was that some of it was like old school brake cables. So you're pulling a cable a certain way to make Richard look to the left.
Okay. So did he wear that like a pair of underwear, or did it slip on over his real genitalia, or what? How'd that work?
Yeah, so when scenes like that get filmed, they kind of kick out most of the crew.
Right, I would imagine.
Trying to be kind of sensitive about the content, but I did get to see the workings behind it because I was one of the crew members that had to be in the room for it, and it kind of slipped on kind of like a Speedo and had a bunch of cables running south.
Wow. Now, the actress who played Pamela Lee, her chest was prosthetic too, right? That wasn't her real breasts?
Correct.
I thought so.
Yeah.
They sure as hell looked like they belonged to her. That was insane, man. Like, I could tell the dick was fake, but yeah, when they showed her breast, I was like, man, that's crazy how real they look, man.
Yeah, I mean, she was another one of those, like every morning, if our shooting call was 7 o'clock, she was there at 3 a.m. getting done up. And, she was in the makeup chair every day for hours upon hours. One of the things about the show that scared the living shit out of me, and I was like, this could be the end of my career, was, you said you saw the whole show, right, Darren?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So there's a scene where she's fighting with her boyfriend when she's younger and still in Canada.
Yep.
And the boyfriend throws a Game Boy at her head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that wasn't that guy. I had to be the one that threw a real Game Boy at Lily James's head.
Oh, shit.
So
Wow.
in my head, I'm like, man, if I miss or she goes the wrong way, my career's done.
Right.
like why use like, all right, we'll get this guy to do it. He looks confident.
Well, so that day, the stunt coordinator was there, and he was there to coordinate what that would be referred to as a stunt. And he asked me, he goes, how's your pitching arm? And I said, it's pretty good. He goes, are you pretty accurate? I go, yeah. And he hands me.
Oh, yeah, I throw stuff at girls' heads all the time.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, he did. He pulled me aside for a good 20 minutes, and he was like, here's a Game Boy. I want you to hit this vase.
Wow.
And so he made sure that I could hit it every single time. And, between myself and him, we were confident that it could be done. But in that moment, it's just like, if I screw up, this is bad.
Because that's not just going to be like, oh, it's okay, I'm all right. Like, no, she's going to get a couple stitches over that, you know?
Oh yeah.
Those things
That's
are heavy.
It's going to fuck a lot of things up. So, have you ever met anyone? I forgot what the correct term is, but like where they don't break character. You ever met any guys like that, like Jared Leto type dudes, where you're just like, hey man, you're just trying to talk to them about like the process of what we're gonna do, and they're still got their accent or whatever.
Yeah. Oh man, why did his name just leave me? Oh, there it is. Ed Harris on Westworld was one of those. When we were filming season 2 of Westworld, a little bit of backstory for it is that I never talked to Ed, never said a word to him, kind of just stayed out of his way because that's what we were told to do. We're like, don't bother him. But yet every day everyone's up there. Oh, hey, Ed, how's it going? What's this? What's that? And you could just see him getting annoyed. So I made a point to kind of avoid him. Well, there was a day that it was his birthday and we were on set and everybody kept crowding him. And I just kind of stayed off to the side. And finally, towards the end of the night when we had wrapped, we're just crossing paths. And I said, hey, Ed, happy birthday. And I kept walking. And I didn't say anything else to him. And the next day, someone had to go relay some information to Ed, and everyone just kept getting screamed at. And again, him and I are crossing paths, and he goes, hey, why didn't you, stick around and talk to me more? And I'm like, well, I didn't want to bother you. I know you're at work, and, so was I. And I just wanted to treat you like a human. I said, happy birthday, and that's all I had to say. And he looked at me and goes, I like you, kid. You're the only one that doesn't give me bullshit. So from that point forward, I was the only one that was allowed to talk to Ed Harris. I had to relay all the information to this guy and, be the kind of point person with him. Well, so during season 2, there was a bunch of wildfires here in California, and Ed Harris is a big smoker. So my job was literally to go sit with him and hang out while he chain smokes and make sure he shows back up when it's time. So we're sitting there and he's got this big Bowie knife. It's a prop and he's carving this stick. And I'm like, first of all, this is just cool watching this guy sit here, chain smoke and using, 13-inch knife to carve a twig. And so over my walkie, I hear, hey guys, the wildfires are getting close. We're going to evacuate. So I look over at him and I go, hey, Mr. Harris, they're saying that it's getting dangerous and we're going to have to leave the area. So I stand up, and as I'm about, mid standing, he grabs my arm and sits me back down. And he goes, you see those fires over there, boy? And I go, yeah. He goes, we don't leave until they come to us. And at the time I'm like, all right, well, if I'm going to die, it's with Ed Harris. We're good.
Fuck it. That's awesome. That's cool. So I've never seen Westworld, man. Try to explain it for all the other people, just like myself, who hasn't seen it.
Oh boy.
Is it like robots and shit, ain't it?
It is, but it's not like you would expect. Think about being able to pay a certain amount of money to go live in a video game, but everything in the video game is tangible. So you can actually touch the characters. You can, eat, drink, shoot people, get shot, everything.
Okay.
And then imagine getting stuck in that world and the AI bots start to gain consciousness.
Okay. Is this a HBI or HBO show or something, or what was that on? Is it okay? Cool, because I got HBO Max, so I'm definitely gonna check it out then.
Oh yeah, check it out.
What kind of stuff did you do? You said you were on season 2, right?
Yeah.
So what were you in charge of?
I'm gonna make you wait on that one, but
okay.
Basically, as you watch, you'll see that was a nonstop, job for us for months and months.
Okay. Awesome. I'm interested. That sounds awesome. I gotta fucking check it out.
Yeah, I have definitely a list of movies because of you, Zach, that I have to go and watch now. So I have yet to see the Tommy Lee one. So
Dude, it's so good. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, it sounds good just from the talking
first
dick and everything.
The first 2 episodes, I was like, man, I hope this whole season ain't dicks. And like the third episode, it's just fucking amazing. It's such a good fucking show. But yeah, it was the first 2 episodes are a little weird.
Yeah, they were a little odd, and the cool thing with it though was that the director on the first couple of episodes was a guy named Craig Gillespie, and he had just finished the movie Cruella.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That was a good one. I love that movie.
That was a really good one, man. Yeah, they couldn't have picked a better person to play Cruella DeVille, man. Emma Stone nailed that shit. Just like Angelina Jolie with Maleficent. It was like,
oh yeah.
They couldn't have picked anybody better, man. And Sebastian, what's his full name? I know
Sebastian Stan.
Yeah. That dude, he fucking pretty much nailed Tommy Lee, man. He was pretty good too, I thought.
Yeah, he's another one of those that while he's on set, he wasn't Sebastian. He was Tommy.
Okay.
And it was cool just, interacting with him and seeing, once the day was over, you could talk more to Sebastian. But throughout the day, he changed his mannerisms to be more like Tommy. Sebastian himself doesn't smoke, but on set he would, just to keep up that raspy voice and all sorts of other weird tricks.
Right. That's really fucking cool, man. The dude in real life who stole the sex tape, don't he live in California and he's got a pot farm now or something?
He does. To my knowledge, I don't know if he owns a pot farm now, but for the longest time I thought he had gone into like the plumbing business. It was weird. He's a weird guy.
Yeah, at the end of it they said that he I don't know if he owns a pot farm or if he just works on a marijuana farm, but it says that he tells everybody, like, I'm the guy who stole the sex tape, and nobody believes him and shit. Like, anybody could tell that story, It's just like when you're at a strip club, you could be anybody you want to be. You could lie to the strippers and be like, oh yeah, I fucking do this or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But something that strange to nobody knows who the fucking guy is that stole that sex tape, and now we do because of the show.
Yeah.
Did they have anybody real life to help tell this story? I forgot, I can't think of the word either that they used, but was Tommy Lee involved, or the real guy who stole the tape, or was there anyone else that was involved in the real story? Be like, hey, this is what happened, or this is how it went down, or whatever.
Not directly. I know that Tommy and Sebastian had corresponded kind of back and forth, more so that Sebastian could figure out his personality and how to portray him. And then on the flip side, you can still find news articles about it. Pamela Anderson was absolutely against the thing even being made. And, at least in my opinion, I think it's that she didn't know how she'd be painted because, as I'm sure you saw, Darren, she's actually shown as the victim in the series.
Right.
It's not, she's not made out to be like a whore or whatever you want to call it. She's made out to be, victimized, which she was. And I just don't think she's willing to see that because she just thinks it's going to be another bad publicity for her.
Right. Yeah, I was a kid when I was pretty young when all this shit went on, but it was just crazy to see all the bullshit behind it about how this guy fucking stole it, and this guy bootlegged it, and this was when the internet was brand fucking new, so it was like nobody really knew who cares? It's on the internet, and it's like, no, dude, everybody uses the fucking internet,
Oh yeah,
it's crazy. It took off, and then it's crazy too that she was right the whole time. She's like, it'll go away, we need to ignore it, and then they're all like, no, we got to sue these fuckers, and it's like, now look what fucking happened. Now it's in the light, and now everybody knows. And yeah, she definitely was a victim, and people think she's this dumb blonde, but she was definitely the right one in this whole scenario.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Pamela Anderson, I've never met her myself, but having talked to people that do know her and watching interviews, she's incredibly smart. Unfortunately, the media wanted to see her a certain way, so she had to play kind of that dumb blonde character.
Right.
But in real life, from everything I can gather, she's incredibly smart and, well-rounded and knowledgeable.
So before we let you go, man, what other kind of things do you do when you're not filming? I know me and Audie here, we're podcasters, so we like to talk about true crime and thing. And there's been some pretty cool places that you've been to, like Spawn Ranch and I think like where Elizabeth Short body was dumped and things like that. Like, do you do that often, or was that just kind of something you just did one day?
When I get some extended time off, I like to go to those kind of places. Still got to get you out here to do the Queen Mary with me.
Yes, I want to do that so bad.
But, a lot of the time, because I work 18-hour days, 5 days a week, I like to just come home and relax. Recently, I've been getting into the hobby of what's referred to as EDC. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
No, what is that?
Essentially, everyday carry. It's just the crap that you carry in your pockets. So pocket knives, pens, little tools, stuff like that, so that almost kind of like a survival thing. Whatever you encounter that day, you'll have the tools on your person to make sure you can get through that day.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, I definitely have one of those cards that has like a knife, saw on it. Have you seen those things? Those things are pretty cool. Is that kind of like what you? Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure you probably got several, and then
they like fit right in your wallet, right? Just like a credit card.
Yeah, and it's got like awesome. A Phillips head and all that stuff on it. Those are really cool. So is that something like? Do you make those like a pouch? You just slide it in, put it in the back pocket, and you're good, or?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Everybody's different. Like, for instance, these are my car keys right now.
Yeah.
But this thing that looks like a pocket knife actually holds my house keys.
Gotcha.
This is an incredibly powerful flashlight. This little thing, and you'll have to look up videos of them, but it's called tritium, and it's actually a radioactive compound, but it works like a glow stick that never has to be recharged. So if you're in the dark, that thing will glow, and you can always find your keys.
Oh, that's
cool. Yeah. That's fucking sweet. So how does this Queen Mary work, man? I know it's a haunted boat, but like, is it open all year round or what?
So during the Halloween, like fall season, they do your standard haunted house there. And it's actually a really good haunted house. But throughout the rest of the year, the Queen Mary is a hotel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and on certain days you can book ghost tours and certain things like that. Or you can elect to stay there overnight and you just have free roam of the ship. So, if we were to do the research, I know there's one room on the ship that they won't advertise it's for a stay or anything like that, because there's essentially nothing in it anymore, but it's supposedly the most haunted room that has had the most unexplained deaths, suicides, murders, and all of that have taken place in this room.
Okay. Can you stay in that room if you request it then?
If you specially request it, you can.
But there's no bed or nothing, so we'd be bringing air mattresses and shit?
Yep.
All right. Well, that's the one I want to fucking stay in.
Say less.
So, is this something that I have to like book way in advance, or is it like, hey, Zach, I'm going to be in fucking California next month, man. Let's fucking hit up the Queen Mary. Like, how does it work?
I'd say we should at least do it a month in advance just to be on the safe side, to make sure, because with, the whole world coming back from the sickness, I don't know, if they close the hotel down for cleanings and maintenance or whatever, or if they're back to full operating capacity.
Okay, cool. And where in California is it located? How far are you from it?
I live about an hour and a half from it. It's in a town called Long Beach.
Oh, okay. So do you live in LA then, or what?
No. So I now live in a town called Simi Valley, which is about 30 minutes outside of LA.
Okay.
It's just enough that when you're done with work, you can get away from the congestion of LA and, have a peaceful night and not have to deal with the tweakers and things that run down the streets.
Yeah, no shit. The Museum of Death, is that close to you?
It was. They closed it.
Oh no, did they?
Yeah.
I heard they were moving it again.
Yeah, so they're in the process of moving it, but it was on Hollywood Boulevard, and they haven't opened their new location yet.
Gotcha.
Oh, so it's not like shut down permanently.
Oh no. It's just in kind of
I've been to their Bourbon Street one. Their one
Yeah.
in New Orleans. I went to that one. That one was pretty cool, but it's nothing like the one in California, from what I gather.
Yeah, they got like quilts that the Manson
Yeah.
girls made, and fucking all kinds of crazy shit.
Heaven's Gate, bunk beds and stuff. Yeah.
Well, so luckily the Museum of Death closed, but there's a new one on Hollywood Boulevard called the Icons of Darkness. And it circulates, instead of on true crime, it's going to be more of your suit they wore as a xenomorph in the movie. Or it's it might be like the original Leatherface mask or any of that kind of stuff. It's all of the movie props from just horror films.
I think I've seen this before. Like I think they got the hands that Johnny Depp wore in Edward Scissorhands and shit like that. Oh, that'd be so fucking cool to see. I'd love to see that, man.
Like, how do you obtain stuff like that? That's wild, man.
Believe it or not, a lot of the times, up until probably the 2000s, studios didn't think of, people are going to collect this stuff.
Right.
Absolutely.
There's an old story that the Death Star was found in a backlot trash can. And the only reason it still exists is someone was like, hey, that thing looks cool. I'm going to take it home.
That's insane.
Man.
Yeah, when I own a prosthetic ear from I think Natalie Grossman, the girl who played Pepper in American Horror Story, and I actually got it from the company that works for, called Zobi Productions. And before I even bought it, I hit you up. I'm like, how rare is this thing? And you're like, dude, nobody has prosthetics because they rip them off and throw them away at the end of the day.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I'm fucking buying it, man.
Yeah, I mean, and if they do still exist after production, they typically will kind of hoard them themselves in case they have to do reshoots rather than having to make new ones. They'll just kind of stash them away for a year or so.
Well, from what I gather, Natalie did that. She had a whole like bag of them. And I guess after the show aired, it's like, well, kind of like your 75 tongues. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right, it makes sense. Now they usually keep the clothes on lockdown, right, for consistency. That way, if there's a fucking bullet wound or something, they don't gotta recreate it. And
yeah, I mean, it depends on the kind of expected life of the show. If it's a one-off and it's a feature, they'll typically shoot through the whole thing. Once it's ready to go out to the mainstream and it's been deemed as complete, a lot of the times that stuff will go into a studio storage or it'll go off to private auction. One of the cool things, anybody can check out is there's a website called Prop Store. And every month they have auctions. There's a prop store here in Los Angeles and there's one in London as well. And you can go on there. Yeah, and you can go on there and anybody can bid on, say this month they're doing props from Brandon Fraser's Mummy. My buddy just ended up selling the reverse bear trap from Saw.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so the guy that taught me special effects is the guy that designed that trap.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's awesome.
Man, I'd love to have that.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I wonder what that sold for. That's fucking sweet.
I want to say it was like 36 grand.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, I'll look at it from
that kind of money.
I'll look at it from afar.
So get this. Not only did he do Saw, he did the remake of House on Haunted Hill. Nice. He did From Dusk Till Dawn. What else? I mean, he did. If there's an iconic horror movie in the last, 20 years, Tommy was the one that did it. Oh, that was the other thing. So along with the reverse bear trap, he sold the mask and machete from Jason Goes to Hell.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's really cool, man. There's
I guess as the times go, because Darren and I are into collecting, we collect. Our collections are crazy. So knowing now what these studios and stuff know, especially with the audience and the collecting genre of everything's getting bigger, it's only going to go up. Like Darren and I always miss. I always tell Darren we miss. What do I say? I say we always miss our turning point, or we always miss the niche.
We're not ahead of the curve.
We're not ahead of the curve on anything. And
Right.
that would be something going back to 2000 to even, late 90s. If you could get a hold of stuff like that, man, I would be rich
Oh
because
yeah.
I would just sell the shit.
Oh
I mean, I
yeah.
wouldn't want to, but I'd need the money. But it's wild because it's like you want to tell people, like, don't get into it. It ain't worth it. Don't collect it so that way I can go buy it. But
Yeah, but what people don't understand about collectors is, to them, buying, whatever it is, might be stupid. You're like, why did you spend that much money on such a small item or whatever?
right.
But to you, it could hold a special place. Maybe that was the last movie you saw with a parent before they passed, or maybe that's
Oh,
where
absolutely.
you saw, that movie in the theater with your now wife, or whatever it is. People don't understand that kind of deeper connection
Yep.
to these props.
And I tell you, that's funny you bring that up, Zach. And I don't want to make this all about me, but you mentioned that. So the new Ghostbuster movie just recently came out. Uh, I took my kids to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Ghostbusters 2 because the first Ghostbusters, I think I was not even a year. It came like in 84. The second one came out in like what, 89.
Yeah.
So I was a little older, 5 or 6. So my dad took me, and I took my kids, and I wanted the Ecto popcorn. Uh, I guess, what is it? A popcorn holder.
Yeah, it's like a bucket.
Yeah, so it was like, like a bucket, really neat, lights up, the little lights come on. I couldn't get it. I went on the AMC, it was sold out. I ended up spending $100 from a third, like someone who bought it and flipped it, uh, all because of what you just said. Like,
Yep.
I wanted that piece because I took my kids. It was a very like special moment for my children, and I wanted to get that just for the simple fact that I'm going to pass it to them when I die.
Mm-hmm.
But you hit it on the head, man. That's exactly why I bought it, was because I took my kids to a Ghostbusters movie. My dad took me in '89, and I ended up spending that money, man. $100, like nothing. I told
Oh yeah.
Darren, he looked at me like I was stupid, but then I had to he's
Not
like, yeah.
really,
He's
but
like,
kind
yeah,
of.
man, I kind of get it, dude, but I never would have fucking done it. And I was like, dude,
Well,
whatever.
only because it was Ghostbusters. I mean, I almost spent $100 on the Scream 5 popcorn bucket, and luckily one of our friends fucking got me one for free and gave it to me. And it's no way near as cool as the Ghostbuster one, but I wanted it that bad because it's my favorite fucking franchise. So.
Yeah, but I mean, for a while I collected props, and I kind of got out of it once I started building my own. I just kind of had to decide, did I want room for my own stuff or things I've collected? And as strange as this is going to sound, I've alternatively started collecting people. So when I was young and living in Florida, we went to the Universal Studios Islands of Adventure right when it first opened. And there was one ride I wanted to go on, and it was called the Hulk. And we go there, and it's the only ride that day that's closed down. And we find out it's because a movie's being filmed there. So now fast forward to current day, I find out they were filming House on Haunted Hill there. And that's the guy I've been working with.
That's nuts, dude.
Wow.
And then right before, my mom unfortunately passed when I was young, one of the last things we did together was we saw the movie Last Samurai. So the guy I work for now was the special effects guy on Last Samurai.
That's cool. So
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Look what I got in my collection. You remember this?
Ah, the Rock from Centralia.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I probably told you this story, but this old band he was in, they were touring, and he stopped in Centralia, Pennsylvania, right? Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Where they fucking filmed Silent Hill and shit, and he gave me a rock from there. I was like, fuck yeah, I think I gave you like an Alfred Hitchcock shirt or something, didn't I?
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. Thank you for this, by the way, man. I know I said it before, but I love this fucking thing. It sits right on my shelf with all my horror shit. It's awesome.
Oh, and I know I've been super late, and these have been promised to you for over a year now. But we had just recently moved, and they got lost in translation. I have relocated the Uncanny Annie cards, and I will get those to you in the mail.
Awesome. I can't wait, man. That's cool as fuck. I gotta come visit you too, so we can go to Spawn Ranch, man. I gotta get some fucking dirt or something from there. That'd
Oh,
be a
dude,
kick
Spawn
ass
Ranch
fucking-
is like a mile from my house.
awesome. Yeah, I
Oh,
gotta
wow.
come out there. Yeah, we gotta hook up and go out there.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you hopping on, dude, and spending your Saturday night with us. Please share this on your Facebook, show all your friends and everybody, and
Oh,
try
yeah.
to help spread the word. And just congratulations on all your success. I'm so proud of you, dude, and so happy for you, man.
Thank you.
It's fucking amazing. You, like I said earlier, man, the intro, like you're like the definition of the American dream, dude. A Midwest kid, $75, move out to Cali, and fucking look at you now, dude. It's awesome. Congratulations, brother.
Thank you.
All right, man. We're gonna let you go and get out of here. And again, thank you so much for hopping on, dude.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, thanks for having me,
Yeah,
guys.
dude. All right, man.
Peace out,
All
dude.
right. Take it easy.
Later. What's up, Audie?
What's up, man?
How fucking cool is that, man?
Oh, that's amazing, dude. That's the things I want to do, man. Like I just want to move somewhere and just be successful.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
You know, like I want
that
shit
takes-
to fall. I want to fall into shit and start smelling like roses. But I just fall into shit and I still smell like shit. You know what I mean?
you're like a turd that was rolled in glitter.
Not even that.
No, but how big are that guy's balls to just fucking move out to Cali?
Yeah,
and be
dude. Like,
fuck it. Like I'm gonna fucking go out there after playing one show in California with his band, and he's like, "This is it for me,
this is
man."
it. This is the life.
Like,
Hey,
how do you
man.
even get there with $75 in your
I don't
pocket?
even,
Like,
I don't
what the
even know,
fuck?
man. I don't know.
Right?
You know, it's like I said, it's
Not
just all about taking risk in life.
exactly. I was just
You
gonna
know,
say that everybody's like, "Oh, I want to fucking do this and be a star or whatever," and like he fucking pulled the trigger and look at him. You know,
Yeah.
it's amazing, dude.
I mean, it's kind of like when I signed up for the army, I knew what I was going to get into. And that was
Right.
the risk. That was the risks I took, and I'd never look back. I'd do it all again. You know what I mean? So I get the whole taking the risk, but going out there and doing your thing. You just got to do it. Most people nowadays they're afraid to take risk, and they really
Yeah.
never. I don't want to say they don't amount to anything. I feel like I'm attacking someone when I say that, but they never follow the dream of what you don't know until you take the risk. And
Yeah,
I
that
say
you
this
gotta
all
take
the
that first leap of faith. You know.
yeah, and I say this all the time. Fail is an acronym. Your first attempt in learning.
Right.
F
Right.
first, A attempt. That's your first attempt. You got to fail sometimes to learn from it. So I get
Right.
it. That's awesome.
I gotta holler at him and see if he can snag us some dirt from Spawn Ranch or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Put
fuck
it
yeah.
on the mantle.
Yes, absolutely.
But
I forgot, but yeah, man, that was a good episode. That was cool.
yeah,
I'm really
absolutely.
happy that he hopped on. You got to see them fucking that Pam and Tommy, bro.
I
Uncanny
know,
Annie's
dude. I'm slacking, man. I'm slacking.
Uncanny Annie is a really good movie too. I loved it.
I feel
That's
like
probably
I
my
asshole.
that's probably my favorite thing that he's worked on. That and the Pam and Tommy show. Yeah, we got to see this ass clowns.
Right?
I
I was going through, I was making the graphic ad, and I was like, what movie should I put up there for him? And I was like, oh wow, you got him listed as an actor. I was like, Ass Clowns. I was like, oh shit.
I thought it was a cartoon, judging by the
Yeah, I
fucking
thought it
movie
was
poster
too,
or
but
whatever.
it looked I'll
That's
definitely
funny.
take a look at it. I felt like such a big asshole in some of the stuff he was talking about because I've yet to see it. Dude, you know me how I'm so far behind on everything,
Right.
but yeah, the Tommy Lee thing I'm gonna check out the West, and then uh Uncanny Annie. You've been talking about that movie for like the last 2 months, so I definitely gotta check
Shit,
it out.
longer than that because I saw it randomly. I just saw it on Hulu and then like the synopsis or whatever sounded cool. And I think I posted about it on Facebook, like, hey, if you got Hulu, you should, because I'm always doing that, after every
Yeah.
fucking movie I watch. And I put it on Facebook, like, dude, you got to see this movie, Uncanny Annie. And he commented, he's like, I worked on that. And I was like, what? For real? He's like, and that's when he started telling me about, yeah, check out School Spirit too. And he's like, I did all the Halloween shit. And I was like, fuck, I didn't even know that, man. Like, it's awesome. And then that's
Yeah.
when I think that's how me and him started talking again, was like, dude, you're fucking doing special effects and shit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It takes a special type of person to jump into doing something like that because, like, I don't have patience like that. I couldn't like if you Darren, if you told me to make like something out of whatever, I would probably get pissed at you for you giving me such a short time to make it. I'd probably tell you to go fuck yourself.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I just couldn't. I was like, I can't fucking do it. Don't
Yeah.
tell me what to do.
What do you say? 20 minutes to make a car out of a
Yeah,
wine
for
barrel
Jim fucking Carrey.
Yeah, but it's
Like,
Jim Carrey. Like, you can't say no.
oh, yeah, like, how do you pull that
That's
out of your ass?
hilarious. Yeah, that's fucking hysterical.
That's crazy. That's drive, man.
All right, man. Well, next week I think we're gonna have Matt Santoro on again from Super Bob,
Okay.
and I gotta fucking get back out in the world and start hollering at some guests so we can get some more people on.
Yeah.
We were supposed to have Brandon Chipetti, the singer of Bleeding Through, on yesterday at 5 p.m., but I got to reach back out to him so we can do it at our typical time. I don't like doing podcasts in the middle of the day.
Yeah, I don't like it either. I feel like the nighttime, everybody's digressed. It's,
Right.
run an hour.
I should fucking holler at him because he's probably pretty pissed. He's probably like, what the fuck, man?
Fuck these guys. I'll never be on y'all's podcast.
Yeah,
It's
no
okay.
shit.
When I lined up CJ Graham, I was talking to him on the phone, and he kind of I told you he scalded me that one time. He was like,
what
"Yo,
the-
you're doing this, and you can't do that." And he's like, "I'm not nobody. I played Jason," and he was just like he was mentoring me, and he was like, "What the hell is this shit at 5 o'clock in the afternoon? Nobody wants to do this shit at 5 o'clock." I was like, "I didn't know."
What,
I was
when he
like,
went live for us?
no, for me when I was doing it on the other podcast, that never happened.
Okay.
He's like, basically figure out your life, circle back around, and come talk to me again. And I haven't blown him off. I just like everything what I had at the time, the program I was using, it was bullshit. But now that I have this,
Right.
it's nothing to get CJ on and get him on here and
Yeah.
talk about. I get him on here and just let him talk about what he does in life. I don't want to like bombard him with the whole Jason thing because that's everybody
Right.
knows him as that.
For sure.
But yeah, let's cut it, man. I enjoyed this one. I appreciate Zack coming on. That was really cool. I'll definitely be probably picking Zack's ear when I watch some of these movies. I won't bother him too much, but because I like to edit the videos. I like doing the computer stuff. It's a little easier than me making a fucking barrel car for Jim Carrey. I could never do that.
Yeah, no shit. All right, man. Well,
Yeah,
I'll talk to you later, dude. We'll hop out of here, I suppose. Oh, thank you all for listening and joining us. We got to give a shout out to our producers. I almost fucking forgot. We can't forget that shit. We got Ben Newman, Chandra Daler, Ryan Merriman, Brett Kopaka, Tara Myers, Paul Tonkovich, John Bailey, and Katie Jellick. Thank you all so much for donating to our Patreon every month. And you guys are going to have merch coming your way. And just thank you for being loyal listeners and donating and fucking helping produce our show. We really appreciate it.
We really appreciate it. That's it, man.
See you guys later. Peace out.
Don't blame us.
Don't blame us.
Thank you for tuning in to our little Passion Project podcast. Remember, we go live every single Friday night, same damn time, same damn channel. So if you miss it, don't blame us.